had her primary and secondary. She had her primary and secondary education at Port Harcourt, River State, and Ogwashuku, Delta State, respectively. Her quest for knowledge brought her to the prestigious University of Ibadan for her tertiary education, where she earned a Bachelor's of Arts in Anthropology in 1990, a Master of Library Studies in 1994, and a Doctor of Philosophy in PhD in Library Information Studies in 2013. Dr. Grace Ajuwon began her career as an academic librarian in May 1994 at the Hezekiah Oluwasanmi Library, Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife. She also served as a librarian at the African Regional Center for Engineering, Design and Manufacturing, Asadam, Iwo Road, Ibadan, from 1996 to 2000. She joined the services of University of Ibadan as librarian 2 and assumed duty at the Latunde Odeku Medical Library on March 7, 2000. She was promoted to the position of librarian 1 in 2004, principal librarian in 2011, and deputy university librarian in 2022. She is also the editor-in-chief of the Journal of Health Information and Librarianship, the Journal of Medical Library Association of Nigeria. Her research focuses on access, retrieval, and use of online health information resources, ICT use in libraries, and special interest in training and utilization of internet health information resources. She's also interested in systematic review process, digitalization of library resources, and development of institutional repositories. Dr. Ajuwon has been taking students and researchers on information searching tools, search techniques, and use of reference management tools for more than 2 decades. She's an academic librarian and a global scholar who has published in both national, regional, and international peer-reviewed journals. She's a recipient of many grants and awards. Please welcome with me a Commonwealth Fellow, a National Library of Medicine Associate Fellow, and a Cunningham Memorial International Fellow, Dr. Grace Ajuwon. You're welcome, ma.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chidima, for that short introduction of a very resourceful speaker for the day. So, Dr. Ajuwon, you're welcome. Please, you can go ahead and share your screen, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Dr. Adi and Chidima. When she was reading my citation, I wonder whether I'm the one. All right, so let me share my screen. Today we are going to be talking about citation and referencing. Oops. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am. We can, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So today we are going to be talking about citation and referencing. How easy it is. We are starting from the basics. And I know that many of us here are aware of what citations are and referencing. Maybe it is the detailed formatting that we may be having issues with. Let's know that when it comes to referencing, citation, we have different styles. We have thousands for referencing. Most journals have their style.
But you're a bit far from the audio, ma'am.
Okay. Is it okay now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Some institutions have their own referencing style. Most journals have theirs. So today we are going to be looking at a few. Time may not allow us to look at most of them, but at least we look at 2 major citation styles. So this is the outline of my presentation this morning. What is bibliographic referencing? what is referencing, the difference between citation and referencing, why should we reference? And then there are some styles that we look at, and why we should also introduce use of reference management tools. So the question is, what do we mean by referencing? Referencing is a very crucial part of a successful academic writing. And it is a standard way of acknowledging the sources used in scholarly publication or any academic work. It is actually a way of giving credit to those authors whose words, whose ideas we have used in our own work. And it consists of two major parts: an in-text citation and list of references, and in some cases, bibliography. And for some professions, such as in law, they reference at three levels. They have the in-text citation, they have the footnotes, and then list of references. So those are exceptional cases. So citation, what is it? It is the actual source that you mention in the body of your dissertation or your manuscript. Broadly speaking, it is a reference to a published or an unpublished source of information. In academic writing, such as technical report, dissertations, it means that you show in the body of your research where the words or information came from using any of the citation styles. So what we are trying to do is that if you use an image, if you use someone's word, if you use a sentence or a phrase, or you quoted someone, there is need for us to acknowledge that. That's the whole purpose of citation and then references. And the references are the details of those.
Ma, we are not hearing it again.
They are not hearing me again. I'm still talking about citation. The format for citation may change, and this depends on the citation styles we are using. The citation styles chosen could be Harvard style, American Psychological Association style. It could be the modern library, modern language. Whatever style we use, that is what the formatting we follow. And there are some basic elements. This includes the author, the year of publication, and the these are basic. There are others. So if you quote a source directly, you must include the page number in your citation. Else, it will be regarded as an incomplete reference. So why should we reference? Why? What is the importance of reference? One is that it avoids you being accused of plagiarism. It gives credit to your work, authority to your work, to show that it lends credibility to your work. It demonstrates the excellence which you have read other people's work, the depth of your knowledge of other people's work. So these are some other reasons why we reference. To show gratitude to those whose ideas, whose words we have used. And it's also a display of honesty. In academic honesty, that not my own idea. It gives
Hello, Ma. Sorry to
yes.
interrupt you again. Your voice is fading. We are not hearing you.
Maybe it's my network.
Sorry about that.
I'm shouting here, I'm making effort
Okay.
to increase my voice.
All right,
So
Ma.
it's like my network is fluctuating.
No problem, Ma. Thank you, Ma.
Okay.
We could
So
try getting the audio.
okay. So what should we now reference? What should be referenced? All the sources of information will be books, journals, magazines, conference proceedings, thesis dissertations that we use when writing or creating a piece of our own research work. So these are the other details. Could be government, could be personal communication, could be an electronic or information you got from pages. The question is everything. The answer is no. You don't have to cite everything. Why? Because your personal experiences, your observations, compiling result of your own research, you don't have to cite that. Those are personal to you. You also don't have to cite common knowledge. There are some cite that those. And what are common knowledge? So what people know about, we all know that Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu is our president. You don't have to cite that if you are writing. He's our president. Even the old people in the villages, they know. Information shared by a cultural or national group, like some of famous heroes, a nation's history. There are some things that we know. So we don't have to cite those. Or knowledge shared by certain fields. You don't have to cite those. But when you are in doubt, please cite your source. When you are in doubt, cite your source. There are steps involved in referencing. So while you are getting the information and you are reading, keep record of all the details. If you are reading a journal article or a book, keep record of or authors. If it's a book, who is the editor or the editor? Keep record. From what did you get information that you want to cite? And it's also important to look at punctuations, spacing, and all those other details. And at the end of the day, there's a need for a list. Now, what are referencing styles? A referencing style is a set of rules on how to acknowledge the sources of information that you have used, those whose ideas and those whose work you have used. It could be from or a dissertation. And what does it do? It gives the reader immediate information about the sources that you have cited. So I can look at the reference list and say, oh, this author, and there are two major referencing styles: the author date style and the numbering style. And these are different variations. The author date style have different variations. The author date style, we have American Psychological Association style, we have Harvard style, and a host of others. For the numbering style, the Arabic numbers, those that use an Arabic number, we have Vancouver. We have the Institute of Electronic Engineers style. Those are the ones that use number. Even with this numbering style, there are variations. With Vancouver, we have up to 4 or 5 different variations. Vancouver superscript, Vancouver subscript, Vancouver parenthesis, Vancouver square bracket, and so on. So each style has its own features and rules for citing sources. So these are some of the popular referencing styles that many of us know. The American, the Upper style, the Annals style, Chicago, Harvard, IEEE, Modern Language Association, the National Library of Medicine, Oxford, and Vancouver. In the health sciences, in medicine, the health sciences and other allied health, it is the numbering style that is very popular, and that is the Vancouver style and then the NLM style, and a host of others that use numbers. So now we are going to take a look at the upper style. The upper style. The upper style is used mostly in the social sciences, business, education, and arts, language, and linguistics. The Chicago style is used in the arts and humanities. The modern, the MLA style is also used in the humanities. But the National Library of Medicine style is used in medicine, health, and allied sciences. And then the Vancouver style, the AMA style of Vancouver is used in the health sciences. Like I said earlier, some institutions have their own style. In the University of Ibadan, we have our own style, called the University of Ibadan Manual of Style. Each style is used exclusive of the others in any given academic writing. So you can't be combining different styles. For example, if you are using the upper style, which is author and then date of publication, you are now combining the different variations of author date style. No, you must stick to whichever one you are choosing. Stick to the formatting. Where there is a full stop, you put the full stop. Where there is a comma, you have to be stick. If there is supposed to be ampersand, where there's supposed to be ellipsis, sit there. You don't have to mix things up, because some of us will know that this referencing is a disaster. It's not what it's supposed to be. So writing a reference in APA, for all types of references, the key bits of information you need to start with are the author or editor if it's a book, or author or authors if it's a journal article, date of publication, for those in the arts, broadcast and recording, title of the item or title of the work, including also title of the journal if it's a journal article. These are others. So here we have who, when, what, and where. So who wrote it? We are talking about the author here. When was it published? The date of publication. What is the title? The title of the item or the title of the journal. So where can we find it? How can we find it? If it's a journal article, do you know the author's name? Do you know the title of the journal, the volume and issue number, what page number? For those papers published in electronic journals, each article has what we call digital object identifier, DOI. With the DOI, you should be able to search online and find that paper if it's available free. If it's not available free, if your library has a subscription, you should also be able to search the database and find it. For books, you have the Uniform Resource Locator, the URL or the web address. So, in-text citation, there are some things you need to understand. It's often you need the author's name, the date of publication, and the page number. Made within the body of your work as you are writing, and you want to cite a source, the author's name must be there, and the date, the year of publication. So that helps to identify the source. And then below, you also have at the end of it a reference list. And in the reference list, we should have the author's name, the publisher. For after 7th edition, we no longer add a place of publication. If it's a book, the place of publication is no longer required. For online resources, you don't longer have to add, the date you accessed it or when it was retrieved. No. After 7th edition has done away with all those. If it's a book, the name of the author or editor, the publisher, the year of publication, and if it's available online, The DOI or the URL is very necessary. Now, APA is a very complex system of citation. It was published in October 2019, the 7th edition. So in these examples that I'm going to show to us, we are going to be looking at the APA 7th edition, not the 6th edition. So, and before we start citing, these are the steps. You must have read the work you want to cite, identify the ideas that you want to put in your paper. You must write a sentence about that idea, and then reference list entry, add the corresponding in-text citation. If you don't have a particular author's work within the body of your work, there's no need to have it in the list of references. So sometimes what we find is that within the body of the work, there will be a citation, but when you get to the reference list, it is missing. That's how we know those who didn't use a reference panel. Because as an individual, there's a limit to what you can see. Sometimes, especially when you have a manuscript with plenty of references, you miss out some, either within the text or in the list of references. So these are some of the steps to proper citation infograph. So when compiling reference lists, it is important to do the following. First, you identify the source. If it's a book or a journal or a web page, find a sample citation for the source. You can check textbook if it's a book. You can also use the APA guide and then mirror that sample. For those of us who have not graduated to using reference manager, this is for you. You should look for a sample and make sure that the entries are listed in alphabetical order and that the subsequent lines are indexed after the first line where you have the author's name. I have an example here at my own right-hand side. Then you capitalize all major words in the journal. If it is a journal you are listing in the list of references, you capitalize all major words in the title. And italicize titles of journal works such as books and journals. For books and journal titles, you italicize them. I have an example here also. Now, I'm giving an example of how we should cite APA 7th edition. You can see the example if you are hearing and seeing me. For a work that has 2 authors, this is how it should appear. Alabi, comma, AA. There's a full stop in between the A's and a comma. And then after that, between the first author and the second author. Then you provide, if it is a work with more than up to 20 authors, when you are doing the reference list, all the names of the 20 authors will be included. But if there are more than 20, you are going to cite the first 19 authors and then use ellipses to add the last author's name. So what I'm saying here is that for one author, you just find the author's name and then complete the other information. Like if you put it the title of the work and then the journal title and all the rest. If it is a work made by author, this is how you write the name of the author. Like I have here, Alabi. Then if there are up to 20 authors in the reference list, include all the names of the authors. Just start the way I've done. But if there are more than 20, you include the names of the first 19 authors and then use ellipses, ... 3 dots, before you include the name of the last author. Now, if you are citing in text, you are going to cite the name of the first author and then use a tall. Then the name, depending on how you use your sentence, whether it is praising or you are quoting. So let's see an in-text citation of upper 7th edition. So in-text citation, paraphrase. Stroke and White explained that more non-restrictive blah, 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 blah. At the end of it, Stroke and White, they are starting the sentence with the names of two authors. And in bracket, we have the year of publication. Then number 2 of this example started with the other way. Non-restrictive relative clauses are used to be parenthetical. And at the end of it, you have Stroke and White, comma, 2000. Then if it's a quotation in text, you can start by saying they started non-restrictive. And at the end, you include the names of the authors, the comma, year of publication, comma, and then the page number. In front of P, there's a full stop. Then the page number is page 16. You can also rephrase the sentence according to Stroke and White, 2000. Then you give the title. Then at the end of that, you have the page number in parentheses. So this is how it works. At the end of that, you have the reference list. Stroke, comma, W, dot, comma, and you use an ampersand to connect the first author and the second author and their initials. After the second author's last initial, there's a full stop before the date of the year of publication. And then there's another full stop before the title. So this is for citing a book. So these are details, the same thing. So this is direct quote now. The same thing, but I've written it out here so that it can be clear for those who may not see the other one. Now, this is direct quote. Indirect quote with parenthetical citation. I've given a good example here of an indirect quote. Then we also have for one author, then we have direct quotation with parenthetical citation. Look at it. Darwin used the metaphor of the tree of life. Then what he said is now in quotes. At the end of it, we have the author's name and the page number of where that information was got, where it was gotten. And then we have direct quotation with authors as part of the narrative. Good and Brown, 1991, explained that Darwin used blah, 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 blah. And at the end of it, we have page 14. So this is how to put, depending on how you use your sentence. So now we are looking at work with one author, Museki, 2016. For in-text quotes, you can see the author's name, the year of publication, and the page number. So I have it here, Musoke, 2016, page 77. And this, in the reference list, look at how it is. Musoke, M.G. 2016, informed and healthy. And then the title of the work. This is a book published by Elsevier. And then the same thing again, the signal phase and the parenthesis phase. You can see the two examples. Work by two authors. In text paraphrase, Chan and Tees, 2018. In text quotes, Chan and Tees, 2018. I'm trying to refresh so that we can understand this better, how it works. And in the reference list, you see the details of that citation. It's listed here. For works by 3 or more authors, this is an example. And then the reference list is here, where we have Scott et al., 2018. And then for quote, Scott et al., 2018, then page 48. For electronic books, You have to, in addition, you have to add the URL, the web address to the reference when you are now listing the details in the reference list. If it's an electronic book, you must include the web address. Now, citing corporate authors. Citing books, chapters in books and reports. These are examples of how you can cite books, one author, corporate authors, and then chapter in a book. These are some of the examples of how you do that. Then I have this table that explains all this. Work by one author, in-text citation. This is how you do it, depending on how you fuse your sentence. And then standard author format is on the right-hand side. Then work by authors. Weak and assign. You use ampersand to connect the first author's name and the second author's name. And after the initial of the second author's name, there's a full stop before the year of publication. And another full stop before the title. So now we are looking at journal articles. So at the end of it, we have the title of the journal, and the title of the journal is italicized. It's in italics. You can see how it is bent before the volume number, the issue number, then there's a comma before the page number. Then work by 3 or more authors is here. After the first author's name is a term and the date of the year of publication. Work by more than 3 authors. So this is a graphic demonstration of all that I've been talking about. So the author's name, the year published, the article title, the volume number, the issue number, and the DOI. This is how it should be. So in-text citation for journal article. You can see citation. At the end of the word, you can now put in the author's name. And if it's within the body of the work, you are starting with the author's name for your sentence. Then you write the author's name. If there are more than 3, put a tall and then the year of publication. That's for the narrative citation. And then the list of references. If it's a journal that is published online, like I have plus 1 here as my example, the DOI has to be there. And some journals, each article has a number. And that is why I highlighted the article number for this particular reference. It has an article number in addition to the DOI. So I have a table here. It looks clumsy, but for electronic books, electronic resources, both the ones gotten from databases, examples are here on how we can do the citation. So citing secondary sources. When citing in the text of a work discussed in a secondary source, these are some of the examples. The study by Sandenbach and McClellan was mentioned in an article by somebody. You know, sometimes we read an article, and within that article, somebody has cited someone, and then usually we want to cite the original article that we know. That is what this one is talking about. What I'm saying here is that cite the secondary source that you read, primary source. You can mention the primary source, but you are not going to cite it in full. It is that secondary source that you actually read that you should reference. So this example is saying that the study by Sandenbach and McClellan was mentioned in an article by Atkins and Hiller. So, and this is how to cite it. In the reference list, cite the secondary source you read, not the original. So I'm going to be citing Scott Hart, Curtis, and Atkins, not Sandenbach. because I didn't see his work. I only read what he said in a secondary source. And then sometimes we have information that we read from unknown authors. How do we cite them? How do we cite a work by an unknown author? So this is an example of how you should use the source full title as the author's name. So whatever is the title of that book is what we use as the author's name. So let the title be the author's name, and then the year of publication will be included. When it comes to citing organizations in text, this is how we do it. Mention the organization the first time you cite the source in the signals phase. For example, the data collected by the Nigeria Center of Disease Control and Prevention, confirm that. And if that organization has an abbreviation, you can use it. NCDC's experts tested that you can use it in your sentence within the body of your work. So these are also examples of in-text citation where the authors have the same name, or where the author published more than one article and you are interested in citing those articles. So cut through here has a paper published in 2005 and in 2008. How do you differentiate the two? And they are published by the same author. When certain authors with the same last names, both authors. So what you will need to differentiate them is the initial. B Kachu and I Kachu. They are the same, they are not the same author, but they share the same surname. And you are interested in citing their work. How do you differentiate the two? Here you introduce their first initial. And then when you are citing two or more works by the same author, you have to introduce the use of alphabets in lowercase, A, B, C, and add it to the date of publication. That will differentiate the author's first paper you are citing and the second one. Smith, 1998, A. Then the second paper will now be Smith, 1998, maybe B, because they are published the same year. So in-text citation for personal communication, this is an example. And then social media. We cannot pretend that social media does not exist. It exists. And then even now we are even looking at artificial intelligence. We are all using it. How do we cite those? In this presentation, I did not, because I don't know that we already have a policy on that. But social media, we use social media every day. There we have Facebook posts, we have Facebook pages, Twitter. People are tweeting very important information. How do we cite those? I've given some examples how we can cite those kind of information if we have to use them in our work. The Facebook, how can we cite Facebook? How do we cite information gotten from X, former Twitter? How do we cite information that we get from online discussion forum posts? How do we cite information that we obtain from YouTube video? These are our podcasts. These are some examples of how those can be cited. Because you can find valuable information from those sources. Every day we go online to find information, and we need to cite our source. So these are examples of cite information we obtain from web pages. Let's not forget that the basic of a reference list entry for a web page are here. The author or the year of publication, the month, date, that information was obtained. Use the most exact date possible. The title must be in italics. The website name has to be there and the URL. And it has to be in the reference list, it has to be indented. There must be an indent. 5 to 7 spaces, depending on you. So we have an example here where I have arrows, where we have authors, date of publication, and everything. In my own example, because I have to, I didn't have enough space to do that. So now we have done with upper side. Now we have come to Vancouver. Vancouver referencing style is a uniform set of requirements for reference. It is a style number style. It is a number style, uses numbers, Arabic numbers. And then it follows rules established by the International Committees of Medical Journal Editors. It is used by many biomedical journals around the world. The numbers in the text and reference list. So whatever number you cite in text has to be the same number for the reference list. So in-text numbers could be in brackets, it could be in parentheses, it could be in square brackets, subscript or superscript. That is how Vancouver works. So those numbers in text could be in bracket, either in parentheses or square bracket. It could also be subscript or superscript. So for Vancouver, in text, how does it look like? So here I'm giving an example of using the square bracket. As one author has put it, now I'm quoting, the darkest days were still ahead, which is well documented in the literature. So if it's a sentence that continues, the question is, where should the full stop be? Is it after the square bracket or before it? If I'm quoting, if it's a quotation. If it's a quotation, it has to be after. The full stop will be after the quote, and the reference will be outside of the full stop, be after the full stop. When you are doing in-text, if it's an in-text work, this reference will be after the quotation mark. You put your full stop before the reference. Before the reference. So below I have the reference list, Smith SD. You can see that the way of referencing here is quite different from of APA. It's different. So here we have Smith SD. Those footnotes are not here. All we have after SD is a comma, followed by the name of the second author, Jones, comma, AD, then full stop. Then organ donation is the title. Now, unlike APA, the journal is abbreviated, and this is a problem for many. How do you now get the journal abbreviation? That's not a problem as such, because if you go to the journal database, if you click on it, you should be able to find most journal abbreviations if they are indexed in Medline. How to reference books using Vancouver. You need the author's name and initials. You need the title of the work or subtitle. You need the edition statement and the place of publication, publisher, and year of publication. Now, APA does not have place of publication, but Vancouver still requires it. It requires that the place of publication, publisher, and year of publication be included in the reference list. So, for example, we have a single author work here, Cook AA, Guide to Finding Quality Information on the Internet, Selection and evaluation strategy, second edition. If it's first edition, you don't have to put the edition statement. But from second edition upward, you have to include the edition statement. Then in London is the place of publication. Library Association Publishing, semicolon, then the year of publication. For 2 or 6 authors, the example is here. 2 to 6 authors, the example is below. And then citing books using Vancouver, more example. 7 or more authors, we have the example here. So more authors, the examples are here. Then now to index for journal articles. For journal articles, here we have Fury and O'Brien. 11 there in superscripts. Argue that, so you are making a sentence here, a statement. Argue that. So after the name of the author, you put the number, superscript. And then when you come to the list of references, you see O'Brien S, comma, Puri S, comma, O'Brien MR. So those little comma, a full stop in upper, they are not here. And you just go straight to the title of the work. And then the journal abbreviation. If it's an online journal, you have to put the URL. The date you cite, the date you got it or cited it, and then available, where you got it from, where the DOI must be included if it's an online journal. This is another example of Gabaru. That diabetes does not equally affect all racial stroke ethnic groups. And then the reference list is here. So this is how we cite web pages in Vancouver. This is how we cite reference, and I'll give you some examples. Now, American Medical Association style. Overall rules for all references for authors. There are rules here. You have to list their name and the initials of their first and middle names. You separate those with commas. I've said it. Then, this is a good example of how we should use AMA. Smith, S-I-S, comma, Hassan, J-P, comma, Adams. You list the authors in the reference list. If it's an edited work, you also do the same. So these are some of the rules for AMA style. No author or editor. If there is no author, if there is no editor, begin the citation with the title of the item or the title of that work. For journal articles, use the journal abbreviation. I've said it before. Go to the National Library of Medicine catalog, or you go to PubMed, you will see a link to the journal database. Use it to look for the journal abbreviations. And then the DOI, you have also to use DOI. And then here is saying that the DOI must be in plain text. You don't have to hyperlink it. You should not hyperlink it. It should be in plain text. So these are some of the other details for citing APA, using APA. And this is how an AMA reference list should look like. Reference 1, Santagelo T, comma, Graham S, full stop, a comprehensive analysis of handwriting instruction, education psychology review, and then it gives the DOI. Same with the second reference here. I think APA is much easier to cite than APA when it comes to the formatting. To me, it's easier. Now, we have what we call reference manager. All these details of formatting, come and here, footstop here. In this age and time that we are, in the 21st century, we have to be doing all those. Technology is taking care of them for us. And that is why we now have what we call reference manager. And what are these reference manager? They are tools that help researchers like you, scholars, to create and manage bibliographic references. They are not difficult to use. All we need to do is to train. Some people train themselves, but if you have someone to train you, it's equally good. They help to organize citations and enable us to create bibliographies or list of references in whatever format, in whatever standard format that we want. It could be in APA, it could be in APA, it could be in any of the Vancouver style variations. It helps us to format our in-text citations and then enable us to share our work with others. You can share database of citations with colleagues. You can share articles with your colleagues. You can create groups with, and begin to work, collaborate with colleagues and peers around the world using these reference managers. So when you are writing, you are reading, before you start writing, journal articles, books, conference and papers, thesis, dissertation reports, published and unpublished sources. And now you are now sitting down to manually do the citation, to manually compile the references. That's too much. That's too much. It's too laborious. In the 21st century, we don't need that, because there are tools available that can help us do it easily, faster, and save us time. I'd always wondered why people write so many papers in a year. I came to the realization that these tools help in addressing some of those challenges and then reducing the errors involved in referencing and citation. So I decided that one of the things that we do is to learn how to use them and teach those who are interested. So why not read, do the reading, do the getting of the literature, finding your the references you want to use for your work, and then allow these tools to help you do the rest of the work. Just take a look at you writing a manuscript. You send to a journal, they say, oh, this is out of our focus. And then you want to send it to another journal. You have used the Vancouver APA style. And then I say, no, ours is APA, another variation of APA. And then you sit down and begin to change everything all over. When these tools can help, just with one click of the mouse, it changes from APA to APA. Just once, just click once, and everything changes. So we need to know how to use these tools. And what are these tools? We have EndNotes, we have ProCite, Reference Manager, RefWorks, and these ones are reference managers that are proprietary, meaning that we have to subscribe, pay to get them. We also have those ones that are open source. They are free. There are many of them. Zotero is there, Mendeley is there, and there are others that are free, freely available. All you need to do is to go online, download them, and know how to use them. If you need help, let us know. Thank you very much. Questions?
Thank
Hello?
you. Thank you, Ma. I can hear you.
Yeah.
For the very educative guide on referencing, citation and referencing. It was really, really insightful. I learned a lot. I can't enumerate. But just to summarize is, we know that referencing is important because it's a standardized way to present everything that we've heard, and that I learned today the difference between referencing and bibliography. Thank you, Ma, for also giving us that clarification. And you also made us to remember that even when we are making formal presentations, such as this or in our academic seminars, we should also ensure that we cite what we are doing. I also learned how to cite secondary references and that as well. So we'll go to questions. So please, if we have questions, can we kindly raise up our hands so that we'll be unmuted and will be allowed to speak? Or you could also type it in the chat box, so monitoring it. So questions, clarifications. All right, Ma, we have a question here. It says, regarding the secondary sources citing, I'd always thought that the reference goes to the primary, the original author that carried out the research, not the person that got that. Could you help clarify, Ma?
You will mention the original author, that so person said this, as cited by that author whose work you actually read. Then it is the secondary person whose work you read that you will cite fully. Did you get my
Yes,
answer?
Ma. Yes, Ma, I did, Ma. Thank you for the clarification.
You cannot be citing a source that you didn't read. You can only mention the name of that primary source, but not the details of it.
Yes, Ma. So if we want to reference the primary source, we have to get the full article of that primary source, read it completely before we start. Yes, thank you, Ma.
Yes.
Then someone asked that, can reference managers differentiate in-text paraphrase and in-text quote?
If reference managers can differentiate between
you mentioned that when we are citing, especially for the upper format,
yes,
the way we cite a paraphrase within the text and we will reference a quote, there's a difference. That do reference managers, are they able to also detect that difference?
Yes, they are able to do it. Is it detect or do? Is it to detect or to do it?
To detect it, like when you want to insert the citation, is it that you have to let them know that the paraphrase, or by seeing the parentheses, they are able to know that, oh,
yes,
it
by
is a quote?
Yes, they are able to.
All right, man.
You the author, the researcher, you are the one to tell the reference manager what, because you are the one writing. You are the one to place either parentheses, or whether you are placing it within the body of your statement, or you are placing the citation at the end of the sentence. So it is you that will determine that. But the reference manager.
All right, man. So once the person puts the parentheses, the reference manager would recognize it. Thank you, man. Somebody wanted to confirm if it's true that UI has a particular reference style. I think she did that already. That you have to write out yourself. Okay, can we use reference manager for the UI citation style? Is it incorporated into the reference managers yet?
We incorporated it. What now happened was that the UI style has been revised, and we have not incorporated the revision. If you ask whether it's currently in EndNote or the answer is no. But we are working towards getting it done.
All right, man. So
yes,
it is there, but the revised version is yet to be uploaded on the reference managers.
Yes.
Thank you, man. All right. Someone said a resident doing a dissertation, the
Yes.
assessor asked that he should write is using Vancouver referencing,
Okay.
but in the reference list, the assessor asks that he writes the journal names in full rather than in the abbreviations that he's supposed to use for Vancouver. That's how should you proceed? This is a technical question in a way.
So if he's using a reference manager like Mendeley, it is very easy to do. What now happens is that if you are using AMA, American Medical Association style, is journal abbreviation. So if you decide to use something else, some things will change. So you still use AMA. And at the end of the referencing, you now save and remove the codes, the Mendeley codes, and manually write the full, if that is what that you now manually write those titles. You save the original work, you write the journal titles in full. It's very mentally.
But so if I got it correctly, you said he might not be able to change that on the Mendeley platform or less on the reference manager platform, but that after he has finished referencing, he could
Yes,
remove
it
the
could be done.
codes and
Yes,
then increase it to the full name of the journal.
titles of the journal. Yes,
All
it's
right, sir.
doable. Yes.
Yes.
The reason why because if you don't maintain the actual referencing style recommended, the in-text will be affected if you now use another style because you want to write a journal full titles. So just leave the in-text the way it is. Leave the details of the reference lead the way it is. All you now need to do is to change the journal abbreviation to full journal titles, and you can do that manually and easily by
All right.
removing.
Thank
Yes.
you, ma'am. Then there is a question about the way we get the the references or the citation from the online sources, that sometimes they don't come uniform. Like let's say one reference comes, it doesn't have location, the other one comes has location, or one comes, the authors have, let's say, one initial, and the other ones they come, they have two initials. Does everything have to be uniform? That does everything have to have a the same in the reference list? Does everything have to have the same components, or if one is lacking in some, can one just adjust it to the lower, the one with the least number of parameters, or how should one deal with that in that situation?
Okay. Some
I can't hear you. Are you using an earpiece?
Oh, that's one of the problems. I'm not using earpiece.
Oh, okay, man. Or
I'm not.
this is a bit clearer now, man.
Yes. So what I'm saying is that some authors have one initial. There's nothing anyone can do about it. That's just their name. Ajuwon Grace. If that's my name, I cannot. If I don't have another name, I can't do anything about it. That's my name. So you let that out of it because others have initials. Everyone we have. So if you have 6 authors and there are 2 that don't have second initial, it's okay. One initial is fine. You cite it the way yes. And then there are some sources you find. Maybe it's missing. Maybe the author's name is missing. You go and look for it. In Mendeley, if you are using Mendeley as your reference manager, it comes to the fact that some things are missing. Go and fill them up, and then you will same thing with endnotes. You have to fill those. You look for them on your own because you have gone online to get those information. You miss out on very, very, very valuable information that you need for your citation and references. If they are missing, then your references are incomplete. And assessors don't like that. They want everything to be complete. If it's an online journal, it must have a DOI. They want to see it. If it's a print journal, it should have a volume number, issue number, and then you cite the page number. I want to see that. So the basic information for referencing and citation must be complete. If you go online to search for materials and some of them are missing, please try as much as you can to look for them. If you need them, let us know.
All right, ma.
Yes.
So that's clear. So you don't try to remove because some are missing.
No,
Rather, you
you don't
try
remove.
to add to the one that is missing. You go and search
Yes.
manually for it to add to it to ensure that it's complete. Some of the questions are already talking about part 2 of this lecture, so people are really waiting for the the second part of this. Is actually talking about, we had a lot of questions about how to use reference managers, how to make some changes in order to make your reference list okay, and how to make some other changes. So this person is asking how to convert Vancouver parentheses to Vancouver superscript. I'm not sure it's something we can answer now.
How to convert? How to convert? Hello, doctor.
Yes, ma. How to convert parentheses to superscript, ma.
It's very easy. On my computer, all I need to do is to click my mouse once. Very yes. Just
Yes,
one.
so is easy to do, but it has to be demonstrated because it's just a setting on whatever reference manager that you're using.
It doesn't matter what reference manager you are using. If you are using a EndNote, the same thing. You just change the style and everything will adjust itself.
Adjust itself. All right, man.
Yes. If you are using Zotero, the same thing. Once you click, the number, the numbers can change from numbers straight to auto date. Once everything, both index and list, changes. It's like magic, but it happens. That's how it is.
Thank you, ma. Yes, we would send the recording across the WhatsApp platforms just as we sent this. We are recording and we share it once it's available. And also, if the slides are available, we will also share it if given to us as proprietary material.
The slides will be given to you.
Thank you so much, ma. So we share both the slides.
So anybody that uses this must acknowledge because it's going to be on Creative Commons license.
Hope we are all hearing. So we have to acknowledge it.
It can be used, but acknowledge the source.
All right.
You can also see that those sources that are used, acknowledge them fully.
All right.
Yeah, thank you. Any other question?
Okay, there's a slight question. The question is about how far behind can one cite a primary source or a secondary source? Like if you want to cite a secondary source, do you have to use an article that is less than 10 years old to the time you are citing it, or you can go to any year?
Well, it depends on what you are writing. If you are in the health sciences, we are looking at the last 5 years. If you are in medicine or related field, but if you are in history, the older it is, the better. So it depends on your field. Whether they are looking for current information, they are looking for information that is far back in time. So it depends. You must know what your people are looking at. There are some assessors that will say these references are too old. There are some journals that will say, why not? Is it that there are no current references? But in the humanities, the older, the better.
All right, man.
Yes.
Thank you, man. Okay, I think I can answer this one because I've learned from the test. It said, can more than one referencing style be employed in one study? She already told us no.
That's a very interesting one. How do you want to do it? Now, we do it unconsciously, and sometimes because we don't know. Sometimes people use different referencing style in one paper. You'll be amazed. They are citing using numbers, they are citing using author date in the same work. It is not appropriate, it is wrong. If you are using author dates, follow it through. If you are using numbering style, follow it through. And you must know the variation. Which one are you using? Are you using Vancouver square bracket or Vancouver parenthesis, the one in bracket? You know, there's the difference between the bracket and the square bracket. Are you using subscript or superscript? Whichever one you have chosen to use it in the list of references. Don't mix this up. If you send it to me as an editor of a journal, I will trash that paper. I'll just get angry. Why should you use different references in one paper? No, it's not appropriate. It's wrong. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma. I think we've exhausted all the questions that we have. We are very grateful for your time and for taking your patience to take us through the basics of reference citation and referencing. I learned a lot, and I know a lot of people online learned a lot. And I'm sure as we go through the materials and the recording that we will have more questions. We will be happy to host you for the second part of this referencing webinar if you oblige us. Thank you so much, man.
I will oblige you on the grounds that you will look out for if you want it to be online, because Zoom is not good for hands-on for me in conducting hands-on training, because I have to open several pages at the same time, and it doesn't cooperate at all.
Yes, ma, we would sort that out for them.
So if you sort it out, else we do it face to face.
Yes, ma. Thank you so much, ma. Do have a lovely day ahead. Thank you for giving us your time today, ma. I want to thank everyone who joined. We had almost 150 people joining this webinar. I hope that we would imbibe the things that she has taught us, and we would use it in our dissertations and academic presentations as we go on. Thank you, everybody. You have a lovely day ahead. Thank you once again, ma.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone. Thanks for coming and joining.
Yes.
Wow.